Hey guys, welcome here and welcome back. Excited to talk about a topic that I um, work very closely to, even though I may not talk about it a lot on this podcast. Those of you that know me or have been listening for a while may know that I have a business with my wife building websites. And while that is a separate entity from this podcast and has a separate message and goal, um, they also align, and I have quite a bit to talk to as far as contractors and websites and the whole bit. So I thought I would do this episode on websites and what they can do for you. So I came up with 4 things that a website can do for you and why you may or may not should get one. I decided to take a step back from the typical um, web marketer, digital marketer angle and look at some things that you might not have thought of, as well as um, I won't be covering cost or anything like that. Although I have an interesting thought to share that I heard from Tom Reber earlier that sums up kind of some of my thoughts pretty well. So I'm hoping that this can clear up some questions I get. And I probably will do a few more episodes with specific questions that I get often to clear those up and hopefully direct people to when I get asked. Without trying to turn this into a website podcast, because that's not what it is. But obviously, in my expertise, it ties in pretty closely. So got to cover at least a little bit. So the first thing that I decided to cover is thinking about your website like a salesman. Imagine having someone working for you that is constantly working, constantly driving sales for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's your website. And with a really good website, you can bring in a lot of leads and even pre-qualify candidates based on information that they put into a form that you can have built. I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But with a bad or a subpar website, you will be actually pushing people away. And that's important to remember that a lot of times it's better to not even have one than it is to have a bad one, because people will go look at your website for information about your company and what you do. And when it's hard to follow and don't have good pictures and you don't have reviews and you don't have everything laid out like people want to see, it pushes them away to the next person that might have a little bit better website that's easier to follow. So it a good website can sell 24 hours a day. Bad one can even push people away. I will say it is better to have a good website than to not have one, but it is better to just not have one than have a bad one. So keep that in mind. Number 2, thought I would talk about is to showcase your work and tell people what you do. I talk a lot about social media and showcasing your work on social media because it's free and easy. And all you got to do is post pictures of your jobs, take, videos of you talking about problems that you have and how you solve them. And it's very, very helpful, and do a little bit of networking, and it really goes a long way to bringing in jobs, even from not even just from new people, but from people that know you and see you all the time and then refer others to you as well. I've been running the Concrete Instagram, and I have gotten a ton of people reaching out for work, and we are just slammed right now. So, but it is a good thing to have too much and to even turn some away. And you'd rather be in that position than the other way around, not having enough and being in desperate need. So the main difference I see in social media and a website is social media is really good for in the moment. Somebody will see a singular post and they'll like it and be interested and follow you, and they'll see you as you go along, and that's a good way to build a relationship with your potential clients and friends and all of that. But the website is where you send people to get more in-depth information about projects and everything else that you do, pictures, things that you offer, and all of that. And you can really list out on your website everything that you do, all the projects you've ever done, reviews and all that stuff in a easy to find fashion so that people can go and look for whatever they want. Whereas social media is a little bit hard to do that. And you got to scroll and really just people will just click on the eye-catching posts that you have. So the difference there, social media is to get people to build a reputation with over time, and then the website's where you send people to kind of have more in-depth information on what it is you do and to showcase your work. And who doesn't want to showcase their work? Most people, if they have never seen your work before, they most likely won't work with you. And if you can just remove even one more barrier to a potential client, then all the better. The next thing that I wanted to cover is pre-qualifying candidates. Now, this isn't something that I in particular have done for someone on a website, but it's something that I always talk about and offer, and I will be doing on our Concrete website, is building in a form that people can go and enter their project information, and they can say, enter the amount of square feet they have, what it is they're doing, if it's a new project or tear out and replace, using concrete as an example, all that sort of stuff. And depending on what it is, it will either give them a rough estimate, send them to a form or a page that they can book a call, or it will just flat out say, we're not accepting projects at this time of that size or something or the other. That's something that can help cut down on the amount of phone calls that you get, and also get rid of questions that people might have about the project, and what it is you do, and maybe even the price beforehand. So you can pre-qualify people before you ever even get on the phone. And ideally, even without the website, you'd want to do that anyways, because even if it's over text message or a messenger or an initial phone call before you ever go to the project, you would want to ask questions to pre-qualify the candidate. A website is another way to do that if they are coming from the web or someone referring them to your website. And that's something that's super cool. And I don't see it a lot around, but it's something that is really easy to do and very, very cool to have. And, really a lot of things people just don't think about. People just don't think about that because it's a lot about just driving people to it. But then once you get to the website, a lot of people just drop off there as far as capturing that information. And that's one of the most important parts, is having a website that you drive people to and then convert them from there. The next thing I wanted to cover is you can turn your website into almost an employee portal. What I mean by that is you can have a login for your employees on your website where they can go in to track their hours, see important information about upcoming projects and schedules. They can see files for safety information and trainings. They can see the SOPs, standard operating procedures. standard operating procedures. You can even have videos on there that will help them learn how to do stuff from you the way you want to do it on their portal. This is a little bit of an advanced area where your website might be on the pricier side, but this is something that is super cool and useful to have. All of these different things built into your website. Now, if you start thinking about these few things that I've listed out and think about other options, doing some research and figuring out what can and can't be done on a website is very helpful that way. Pretty much anything you can think of, you can have made on a website. It's just a question of the amount of money you have to spend on it, which takes me to one last point I have. I heard Tom Reber on a post he made today was talking about, and I'm paraphrasing here, a lot of you guys will go out and spend $40, $50, $60,000 on a piece of equipment that will make money for your business. And rightfully so. You know, you can justify spending money on something that's going to make you money. But when someone quotes you, and he used 20 grand on a website for an example, but I'm going to say even 5, 6, or 7, and even $1,500, because I've quoted people at $1,500 before, and they've been like, whoa, that's expensive. I don't know about that. You'll go out and spend that much on a piece of equipment, and then when someone quotes you, you know, a few $1,000s on a website, like, blows your mind. Now, the website's main function is to bring you leads and to make you money. If you look at a regular or a usual job, what the dollar amount is on that regular job, let's say it's $50,000, and your website brings one a month, and you pay $20,000 for it, I mean, that makes plenty of sense. So if you start looking at what a typical job is for you, what a typical client is worth to you, and start looking at the website as ways to bring these clients to you, is a tool, just like the piece of equipment to make money for your business. That is all it is. And the most important thing to think about is it's there to make money. So, and a lot of people don't really understand that a website can be expensive or not expensive. Not really going to get into the price right now because there's so many different people out there charging different amounts. We've been charging different amounts for different things. Even like what I was saying with building a form to pre-qualify clients or an employee portal, both of those are going to make your website more expensive. I wouldn't say the general idea that if you spend more money on a website, it's going to be better, holds true, because you can find someone that will charge you a lot and you don't get anything out of it. But more likely than not, the more you spend on it, the better you'll be. If you're in that cheaper few $1,000 range, then it's less likely that it is actually going to do work for you, and it's just going to cost you money, and it's just going to be bitter on both sides. A lot of people think that you can just get something for nothing, and I think that the do-it-yourself website builders nowadays have contributed that to that a little bit, and they work for someone just starting out, and as a place to direct people about your projects and about what you have going on. But if you are looking to grow and scale, spending more money on a website makes a lot of sense. And there's also some tax benefits you can get from ad spend and marketing spend. I'm not going to go over that in this episode either. We don't offer ads or SEO or anything like that in depth right now. So I plan to have someone on the podcast that talks about that in depth. But these are just some things that I thought about and wanted to do a podcast on to kind of help you guys figure out what it can do for you and why you should even get one. And my advice is still, if you have a business, or even if you are building your personal brand and you're trying to find a company that you want to go work for or anything like that, is to get a social media and really go all in on posting and building your brand there, because it's free, easy. The more you have out there, the more people can see who you are, and the easier it is to network and find people that you can band together with. So that's my spiel. If you like this, leave a rating and review. Let me know. Wanted to remind you guys about the Facebook group that we have, that I'm going to be posting quite a bit in the coming weeks, especially since this is now episode 11, which is crazy. I have a lot coming. I'm excited to get going with that, and I've been putting a lot of thought and work into what I want this podcast to be, and to have a more consistent and clear message. And I've had a lot of good feedback from you guys. If you want me to cover a topic, whether it's health and fitness, technology, working in a trade, reach out to me on Instagram, let me know, and I will do my best to answer that. And also, if you would like to be on or contribute in any way, reach out to me on Instagram as well, and we will get that set up. And I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.